So I thought it very apt that my first themed post was one on vulnerability, including putting myself out there on video. It's a subject that comes up a lot with my coaching clients and a lot in my own life. That theme of allowing yourself to be vulnerable, allowing yourself to be the real you, and show yourself to other people. So I'm in this video aiming to cover why we think that parts of us need to be hidden and end up wearing a bit of a mask, and why we think vulnerability is a weakness. Also, what the benefit is of being yourself, allowing others to see all of you, and looking at what situations this comes up in. So, in terms of developing this mask that a lot of us wear, somewhere along the lines, a lot of us received the message, maybe when we were younger, that it just wasn't okay to be us. We weren't okay as we were. There were parts of us that needed to be hidden, to only show the acceptable parts of us, the parts that will make others like us, basically. There's this kind of innate human need to be liked, to be approved. Unfortunately, many of us end up burying parts of ourselves so much that we are just, in effect, not feeling able to be ourselves. We're also perhaps brought up to think that vulnerability is a weakness. I know for myself, I certainly played the tough girl card quite a lot, the tough, responsible, overachieving type card. Always was... I developed a strategy around mental toughness and also physical toughness. You know, I was always a tomboy, always hung out with the boys, trying to beat them. Did martial arts, weights, all of this sort of stuff. Felt like I could take the weight of the world on my shoulders, like I was responsible for everyone's happiness, peacemaker of the family. And it's taken me a long while to realise that actually that's not sustainable, and that puts us under a lot of mental and emotional strain. And actually, vulnerability, although it sounds like a weakness and was something that I really didn't like the idea of, showing that kind of softer or weaker side to people, is actually a massive strength. It's a massive strength because it enables us to connect to other people, rather than just my mask speaking to your mask, and us never really relating to each other as individuals and as wholes. It enables real connection. It also allows others to relate to you as well. So we think, we kind of end up being scared of each other and feeling like we have to put on this professionalism or this capable front. But actually, often when you let your guard down and let others see the real you, that's when people can really understand, and they really resonate with that. I was on a yoga teacher training a couple of years ago, and we all had to share. There was a lot of self-inquiry, and I was kind of doing the tough girl thinking, okay, yeah, no, I can share, I've done this sort of thing before, I can kind of lead the way and help others, typical rescuer attitude that I had, tough girl kind of thing. Yeah, I'll go first and I'll share. And when I got up there, it was really difficult, and I shared, amongst quite a bit of tears and emotion, how I did feel the need to be tough and how I did find it hard to show others my vulnerability. And actually, at the end of the session, a good few girls came up to me and said they could really relate, and they're really glad that I shared that, and it really touched them and moved them. So not only do you connect with others better, but you also, others can really relate to you when you show your more vulnerable side. Also, I think when you show your vulnerability and actually who you are, instead of putting pressure on yourself to be something that essentially you're not, or to hide part of you, it often causes issues, mental and emotional health issues, and often physical health issues, if it's suppressed for so long, like depression, and anxiety, and a lot of stress. So you're actually saving yourself from a lot of these problems by being yourself, and but by actually just being yourself, basically, and not feeling like you have to repress it, because these things always come out sideways if you push them down. The other thing is, being vulnerable allows you to get support, and I always thought that's something I didn't need. I could do this. I didn't need the support of others, but everybody needs some support at some point. And if you always give off the vibes of, oh no, she doesn't need any help, yeah, she can handle it, or he indeed, then you're not getting the support you need. The other thing about vulnerability and being yourself is it's actually quite selfish not to show all of you, to show who you are to other people. You're almost denying them the opportunity to really get to know you for you. So I think there's a lot of benefit to showing your vulnerable side. It's not a weakness in any way. It actually takes bravery and strength and trust and courage. It's important in romantic relationships. I think a lot of relationships of a personal level tend to fail because we show each other only the good sides of each other, and then the kind of honeymoon period disappears, and we kind of go, wow, what happened to the person that I fell in love with? That's the phrase, isn't it? Because we've become very attached to this false persona of the other person, and when the mask inevitably starts to slip, because we can't keep up this mask forever, it's a lot of pressure to do so, that's when everything goes a little bit pear-shaped. Also within friendships as well, it's really important to be yourself, and also that way you attract people in your life that really can relate to you. If you're kind of projecting a false persona out there, you're going to attract, say for example, you're portraying it, I'm really tough and I can rescue everyone and I don't need any help, then you're going to attract people who need rescuing, which is never necessarily a good thing, and it means that your own needs will go unmet. Also, I think there's a place for vulnerability at work. Now, I'm not suggesting you let it all hang out there, but there's definitely a place for showing who you are, and showing people your strengths, not trying to pretend to be somebody else to fit a mould. Particularly if you're early in your career, I know in the corporate world, I very much used to do this. I used to break my back and drive myself crazy trying to be something I wasn't, because I thought it was what the employer needed. Certainly as a person running my own business, when I first started, I almost felt like I should accept every piece of work or try and be everything to everyone, and it was actually a brave step on my part to put everything on my website. I kept thinking I should do a separate website for yoga and a separate one for communications, because people who wanted professional communication services might be put off by the fact I was a bit of a hippie and I did yoga, and actually I said, no, you know what, if these people are going to be put off, then they're not the sort of people who share the same values as me, and they're not necessarily people that I would get along working with. They might not be the best fit. So although when you first start in your own business it can be scary, being brave enough to put yourself out there and say, no, this is me and this is what I do. I'm really glad that I did my website the way I did. It's not particularly beautiful, did it myself, and I put everything on there, put the whole of me and what I do, and actually I've attracted a lot of great clients in my life to work with who have seen, I put my own values up there on the website, my story and what I'm about and what I do, and people have read that and come to me because of it. So although it felt like a bold move at the time, it was really worthwhile, because now I have clients that I love, and we all share the same values. So I would say really put yourself out there, in all situations. Be yourself. At the end of the day, we can only be ourselves. We'll be a poor imitation of anyone else, and we will make our brain leak out of our ears trying to be something that we're not, and give ourselves all sorts of problems. So yes, just my message to you is be yourself. Show that to others as well. Be open in your communications, honest in your relationships, and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing you need to hide. All this stuff you think is your weirdness, everybody else is going through exactly the same thing, trying to hide the bits that they think are a bit weird or a bit unpalatable. So be bold, shine your freak flag, as they say, or fly your freak flag, show your weirdness to the world, because that way you're going to attract people into your life who resonate on the same radio frequency of weirdness as you do, and you can be yourself and not squash yourself down. Thank you very much for listening.